Test. Good morning. Sorry. Technical difficulties. Good morning. Good morning. Yep, we're live. Here we go. 10K. Hello, 10K. I think that's what your username is. 10K Kumar. Sorry if I if I screwed up your username. I apologize. It's a lock this side. It's a lock this side. What? What are you saying, man? You got me all fucked up. It's a lock. Meaning that's your name, like a lock. That's what you want me to call you. All right. We got some housekeeping to do. All right, so we need to create a Discord event. How have I been? Yeah, been good, man. Have you been in my chat before? I don't think I've ever seen your username before in one of my live streams. You called me buddy like we know each other, but I don't think I've ever seen you. Or maybe have you been a lurker? Have you just been lurking? Which is totally cool. I just don't recognize your. Yeah, I don't recognize your username. My stream is so small that I can pretty much keep track of the regulars, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I've been doing good. We're gonna spend our Saturday morning drinking some coffee, writing some code, chatting to some strangers on the internet. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Excuse me. I just have to get all my ducks in a row. Usually I always try to do this the night before I stream, but I fell asleep last night. All right, we got our Discord event. We need to pin a message. I've been watching your videos for so long. Oh, really? That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for watching my stuff. Like more than I mean, hold on. When you say so long, do you mean like before programming and coding videos, or you just mean like recently, like within the last year? Also, I'm happy to answer your question, man. Full send. Uh-oh. I think my last year kind of. Nice. Cool. Well, welcome to the channel. Glad you're here. It's nice to meet you. Always happy to answer your questions. Always happy to answer some questions. Also, I got a new member yesterday. Or actually, I got a resub. Let's see, hold on. Stream elements dashboard. Although I don't see. Okay, so we gotta update our membership list. which has to be done manually. And if you think, Steven, why don't you just automate this task that you have to do all the time? Well, YouTube has decided that the members API is for approved people only. You have to have a YouTube partner account manager person to get access to it. And I guess I'm not big enough. So now we do it manually, which is so annoying. There we go. All right, we got our members list, snippet. Then we have to do 1,000 to get all our members. We have to execute all this stuff. Stick it here. Save. We have exactly 50 members. It's awesome. .NET, index.cs. Woohoo! All right, so we did a Discord event. We pinned a message. We updated our members list. I think that's the last bit of housekeeping we needed to do. Yeah, so I guess now we can go ahead and get into it. What are we going to get into this morning? I have no idea. Kumar, I've been trying to contribute to a lot of open source projects for GSOC, but it's like whenever I visit the repo, I kind of get lost anyways, even though I have contributed to different repos before. So what's your, okay, I understand the problem. So what is your question? Because I think that feels like a pretty common experience whenever you walk up to a brand new repository, like not knowing what the fuck is going on. That's totally normal. But it's really cool that you're trying to contribute. I'm not sure I know what GSOC is either. If you don't mind explaining that abbreviation, that might be helpful too. I'm peeling my orange. If you're ever wondering, like, what the hell is he doing? I'm peeling my orange. Google Summer of Code. Okay, yep. Okay, I have heard of that. I haven't heard of GSOC, but I have heard of Google Summer of Code. Faux show. All right. So you're trying to do Google Summer of Code. You're walking up to repos. You get lost. So is your question just like, how do I not get lost? Is that your question? All right, let's get started with a little bit of Go. Yeah. A little bit of Go. Excuse me. Wait, how do you have this in your PowerShell? I want to know. Hey, what's up, Kieran? What do you mean PowerShell? You mean like the prompt? Like this big long prompt thing that I have here? How should I contribute? Like easier problems have already been taken up. Tougher ones tend to be too tough. All right, my thoughts are this. My thoughts are this is that open source if you want to contribute to open source, it requires you to have a little bit of a, in my opinion, what is kind of an entrepreneurial mindset. You have to be willing to dig into a problem and struggle with a problem without direction, without input, without feedback, and you have to be able to wrestle with things until you get to a point that you can do something meaningful and useful with it, right? And that takes a certain kind of mindset. Anybody can do it, but it takes a certain kind of mindset. And I say entrepreneurial because that's kind of the mindset that a lot of entrepreneurs have, which is I largely don't know how to accomplish XYZ thing. All I know is I want to accomplish XYZ thing, and I'm tenacious about closing the gap, right? So that's largely what it comes down to. There's no like secret sauce to like how do I contribute to an open source project. There's not like, well, you know, go to this repo and look for these types of issues, and like there's really no secret. It's like you said, there's a spectrum of problems, and you just have to be willing to take one on and dig in. And unfortunately, that's just the nature of the beast. Like open source by nature requires you to kind of be able to operate in a little bit of a vacuum and to have the willingness to sift through, right? To if you don't understand the repo, pull the repo down, step through the code, try to break it, try to put it back together so that you can form a mental model of how the code works, how the repo works, how features are implemented. There's just yeah. I mean, I wish I had a better advice for you than that, but that's the truth of the matter. As far as techniques I use to like sort through a new repository, my favorite thing to do right now, I don't know if you have GitHub Copilot, but my favorite thing to do is whenever I walk up to a new repository, like I did this recently with Microsoft's agent framework. Like here we go. Let's go over to agent framework. And I can't remember exactly what I did this last time with, but my favorite thing to do is just to chat with Copilot and to give it the context of whatever repository I've walked up to, right? Let's say like for you, you're walking up to some Google Summer of Code repo that's participating in that event, and I'll just ask Copilot to like, can you give me a basic overview of how this repository is structured? And like in this case, I know this repo is both Python and .NET. So then I'll say I'm only interested in the .NET bits, right? You could even make your make your prompt even more useful. Like I'm a newer person to open source contributions. I'm trying to understand, does this repository? I mean, I don't know if you have Copilot, but if you had Copilot or you had some sort of AI, this is kind of my current favorite way to kind of get up to speed with a repository very quickly, to have AI try to help me lay out some amount of structure and step me through what's going on here. Other than that, you're just back to the old school style of pulling the repo down and stepping through it. Well, I guess it would help if Copilot actually worked. I did this though once before. Let's see if I can find an example where I did this. Can I search my chats in Copilot? Shows how often I use it. Let's just rerun it. Yeah, I hope that helps, Kumar. I don't know if that's super helpful, but that's That's the approach I take these days. Kieran, no, not this. The task manager. Oh, Kieran, that is you're talking about this stuff. Sorry. You're talking I don't know if you're still here, but you're talking about all this stuff. Yeah, so this is a program called Bottom. So I'll link to it down here if you do BOTTOM command Bottom. You should get a link. There you go. You can just grab it off Discord. You can just get it as a single file executable and drop it on your machine, and you're off and running. I usually install it through Wingit, but if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. It works on Mac, it works on Linux, it works on Windows. It's pretty great. Wayfaring Tinno. I pulled off my first contribution to the XUnit Analyzers library yesterday. I remember using a website to find good first issues. Oh, well, there you go. Hey, Wayfaring, if you wouldn't mind linking up that website, that'd be great for our friend Alot That would be great. So drop that link. Or actually, I don't think you can put a link in my chat. If you wouldn't mind going to my Discord and dropping the link in the Discord, then I would drop the link in chat. Or just use your words and tell me what the website is in a way that doesn't get your message blocked. But congratulations on landing your first contribution to XUnit, the XUnit Analyzers library. That's awesome. It's always very exciting. I think the contribution I was most excited about that I did, that was an open source one, was I fixed an issue in... Also, why is Copilot taking an L on this? Copilot's taking a hard L on there. I think the contribution the very first open source contribution I made was to the Free Code Camp repository, and I was so excited about it because it was like I was so early on in my coding journey that the fact that I could solve a problem in someone else's code was so exhilarating versus just solving a problem in my code. I wonder if I can still find it. Let's see. Can you search like let's see. Free Code Camp. Yeah, here we go. So this was November 11th of 2022. So 3 years ago, basically. And it was a very small change. Like all I did was I renamed a variable that was causing tests to fail when they shouldn't fail. But it was like exhilarating to be like, yeah, man, my name is now part of the Free Code Camp repository. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then I also did the other one that I'm pretty proud of is, you guys might not know this, but if you creep on my LinkedIn, which I'll put my LinkedIn in the chat. If you creep on my LinkedIn, then you probably know that my day job is as a quality engineer, and I use this library called Playwright a lot, playwright.dev. It's a browser automation framework, and I was able to add a feature to that framework. Let me see if I can find the pull request. I know I'm like a kid showing off all his trophies, all his like open source contributions. I have like 5 of them, but let's see. I can't find it. Maybe there's just too many things for me to narrow this down. Let's do playwright.dev. No. In any event, open source is cool. It takes a little bit of effort to figure it out, but it is cool if you can fix other people's code. A lot. Okay, that's a new learning for me. Great, man. Well, I'm appreciate it. Maybe I can. I hope I appreciate you letting me know, and I hope that you found it helpful. Wayfaring Tinno, that's the website. I think I think the whatever thing you posted in the chat got stripped out. Wayfaring Tinno. I don't think YouTube will let you post links. Null refer. Nice. Null refer. Tinkering with an idea to use Playwright and Go to create an MCP server that can do my grocery shopping. Oh, nice. Well, I don't know if you I mean, I guess you might just want to build your own MCP server, but in case you didn't know, Playwright does have an MCP. Playwright actually has 2 MCP servers. There's also a Chrome DevTools, or is it a Chrome DevTools? I forget what it's called. It's like Chrome something. There's another MCP server that makes it easy to interact with Chrome and automate Chrome. So if you wouldn't mind reusing somebody else's existing functionality in your project, there is a Playwright MCP that's already out there. But sometimes it's fun to reinvent the wheel, so I get it. If you're, yeah, here it is. Playwright MCP. They have 2. You have to be careful. They have 2. They have one that is primarily focused on allowing LLMs to interact with websites through a browser, and then they also have one that's more for like testing purposes for people who generate tests and stuff. No, sorry. I meant an MCP server I can integrate with an LLM that could check out my local grocery shopping website. Well, yeah, I mean, you could, that's essentially what, I mean, this just allows you to basically have the, you know what I mean, it allows you to talk to an LLM and have the LLM do things for you, right? Using a browser. That's what their MCP server does. So if you want to reinvent that wheel, hey man, and if you want to make it more specific to your specific use case, like go for it. But I just wanted to let you know that they already have an MCP server if you want to use it. First contribution always feels awesome. I asked you about open source contributions before, and now here we are. Big thanks. Oh, that's awesome, dude. Well, congratulations, man. Kieran, what would you want to do with browser automation? What would I want to do with it? I use it all the time at work for testing. I mean, that's what I use it at work for. You could use it for other things too. I mean, you know, like basic like web scraping scenarios. You could use it to make up for a fact that some tool or some website you use doesn't have a programmable API, but you still want to be able to interact with it in a programmable way. Although that becomes more and more difficult every day because so many companies now are implementing anti-bot detection. So like a lot of times you end up having it work. A lot of times when you're doing browser automation for non-test things, it becomes kind of a pain in the ass because the websites that you're trying to automate, because they don't have an API, they sort of know people want to do web scrapey, browser automatey things, and so they have a lot of technologies in place to prevent people from doing it. So like you'll get a script working with Playwright, but then as soon as you run it in headless mode, it doesn't work. So you have to implement some hacky workarounds to try to avoid those detections. I think there's even a website called that you can use where you can, what's it called? It's called isbot. I think it's isbot.com or something like that. Testbot website. Nope, that's not it. This one. I think this is it. So you can basically, what you can do is you can write your browser automation script, right? So let's say like I use this. The project I did that used this was I wanted to automate the renewal of my New York Times subscription that I use my library card. So basically every day when I want to go read the New York Times, I have to log into my library, my local library, and then basically authenticate back to the New York Times to basically get the daily pass that my local library offers. And I wanted to make that manual. Well, that requires some sort of browser automation because they don't have a programmatic API. And so what you can do is you can use this website, you can write your script and then navigate to this specific website, and it will tell you whether or not your script is going to get flagged as a bot for any of these reasons. Kind of a nice handy tool if you're in that world. That world, the browser automation, the bot detection world, that is like a similar world to like cybersecurity, where it's just you have two sides of the war. You have the people who are doing the bot stuff, and you have people who are doing the bot detection, and they're just constantly escalating against each other. What's up, John? Brother, do you stream every day? Please don't stop. Maybe. Yeah, I do stream every day. So my schedule is right here. My schedule is 4:15 a.m. to 7 a.m. Most days, almost every day of the week is what I aim for. And I don't have any plans to stop streaming. So if you're around and want to drop in and say hi, go for it. Kieran, headless failed multiple times. Yeah, it will. It will. Headless will. It will typically. You always want to start with headless, because if you spend all day getting a little script working in headed mode with Playwright, 9 times out of 10, when you switch it to headless, you will get nailed for being a bot. Um, Especially if you're aiming your script against websites that are like larger, more sophisticated companies. They will almost 9 times out of 10 have some sort of anti-bot technology installed on their website. 9 times out of 10, which I get it. I get it. I just wish more companies would give you an API. That's what I would just wish more companies, instead of making us use a browser to try to hack around their lack of API, I just wish they'd give us one. You know. Kieran, but we can't see what's gonna happen. Oh, in headed mode, or headless mode. In headless mode, what I usually do is I usually turn on snapshots, and then I'll just capture snapshots periodically. You can also record a video too. That's the other thing Playwright gives you out of the box. You can just record a video. So if you want to run your script and try to figure out what's happening, um, just record a video and run the script, and then rewatch the video and see what it encountered. A lot of the times when you run it in headless mode, you'll capture a screenshot of like some sort of anti-bot detection software on their website. Like it'll either be we think we've blocked you because we think you're a bot, or it'll be like a Cloudflare CAPTCHA challenge page, or that. All right, Kieran, you just took a hard left turn, man. We were talking about browser automation and scraping websites, and you were just like, okay, Playwright, and then just like hard left turn WSL. All right, we need to add some. Kieran, yeah, is there a way to beat CAPTCHA? Uh, I there is. There's a couple different. So there are solutions that people have written to beat cap. There are solutions that people have written to beat CAPTCHA that are like packages that you can pull in. I think there's definitely one that I've seen in the TypeScript JavaScript ecosystem. I'm not 100% certain about the Python world. What I ended up doing in that New York Times situation that I told you about, what I ended up doing was using OpenAI's Whisper transcription model. Let me see if I can show you. This is what I ended up. Sorry, this is what I ended up doing. So CAPTCHAs have to, for accessibility reasons, CAPTCHA has to support non-visual completion, right? So like whenever you're doing a CAPTCHA, there has to be a way to do it through audio 9 times out of 10. Arachneus 3D CAPTCHA. Maybe, I have no idea what the name of the package is, but my solution was basically to exploit the fact that they have to rely on audio. They have to have some audio component for accessibility reasons. And so I basically go there. If I detect the CAPTCHA, I grab the audio file and I use OpenAI's Whisper model to transcribe it. And then I get the transcripted text back and complete the CAPTCHA that way. That doesn't fit all CAPTCHAs, right? Like it would be, you'd have to deal with whichever one you're trying to defeat, but that was my solution in this case. Which don't well, that was my theoretical solution. I'm not admitting to any violation of user terms or services. No, these are 3D CAPTCHAs, like directional things. Oh, yeah, that one I don't know about. I haven't tried to take that type of CAPTCHA on. So I don't know. You'd have to come up with something interesting. Like I said, that field is largely a cat and mouse game, which means I don't typically do a lot in it unless I absolutely have to. Because once you figure out how to beat it, then they figure out how to stop you from beating it. Then you have to figure out how to beat it again. It's just like constant. Hey, what's up, you mixed dev? Good morning, man. How are you? Good to see you. Terms of service is a pain in my life. Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as companies don't allow you programmatic access, people are going to try to do things to get around that. You know? It's just the nature of the beast. Bruh, I lived that life with eBay. It's frustrating to have to solve a problem and then the solution be invalidated like, a couple months later, and then you're back to the drawing board. It's just not fun. Or at least I don't think it's fun. I guess if you're a type of person who likes kind of that cat and mouse security hacker type of thing, like maybe it's interesting to you. It's just not interesting to me. Does Go have I never asked this before, but if you write Go, do you guys know, do they have a coverage report that you can view in HTML? Go test coverage report. Not even a couple months. It was weeks sometimes. Glad I left that field long ago. Yeah, exactly. It can be weeks. Yeah, it's just a rat race. Let's see. Execute your tests. Generate and analyze the report. Once the coverage.out file is created, you can use the go tool cover command to generate various types of reports. Okay, let's see if I have that command. Go tool cover. Oh, I do. Nice. Okay, that's just built in. Awesome. So let's do go test internal handlers. Actually, we should do go test internal handlers and then what was it? Coverage. Cover profile equals coverage out. Cover profile equals coverage dot out. And then I can do go tool cover HTML equals coverage.out and click, let's see, let's do Zen. Huh, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I like that. So we can see what, it's not, that's terribly difficult to read though, isn't it? I mean, could you ask for worse contrast? But at least we have some way to visually see what we need to write tests for still, which I find incredibly helpful. So I'm gonna stick this off to the side. Hey, what's up, King Bean? You're back. Hey, I have a question. Hello, I have a question. Yes, what's your question, King Bean? MD, what font is this that you're using? I use a font called Cascadia Code, I think, or Cascadia Cove. I can't remember which one exactly. I just posted it in the chat there, MD. It's a nerd font. So you go to the nerd font website, look for Cascadia Cove nerd font, and you're off to the races, man. It's kind of my favorite at the moment. Kieran, you mean like a JUnit test in Java? I just mean like a tool to be able to visually see what lines of your code have test coverage and which ones don't. I don't know anything about Java, so I know JUnit exists, I know Java exists. I've never used them though, so I don't really know what's available in that world. No, King Bean, I cannot say that. No hablo inglés. Oh boy, he's gonna make me time him out. All right, we need like a band hammer animation. Fayron, thanks for subbing, don't we? Bro, I already answered you. Yeah, okay, ready? We're gonna drop the band hammer. Let's see if there's a... How did Google end up with that theme for that Go tool? Oh my god, I know. Look at this thing. This is horrible. That's horrible. It's so bad. It's so bad. Let's see. YouTube band hammer effect. I was hoping Stream Elements might. Although I shouldn't play any of these because they might get me copyrighted. Bye bye, King Bean. Alley the Eye, band counter. Yeah. Yeah. I actually, what's crazy is I really haven't had many issues with like trolls or people like King Bean. I really haven't had issues with that in my chat, primarily because I have subscriber only chat on, so I never really have to deal with it. And you have to, what's crazy is in order to troll me, you basically have to want to troll me so bad. You have to subscribe and then you have to wait for 5 minutes without scrolling on. So if you decide you're going to troll, you have to be pretty committed, you know? Isevka medium extended. Oh, is that a font? Nice. Excuse me. All right, let's add another test. Let's see, it dot run. It should return 500 status when the request cannot be read. Nope, that's not what I want. I want a function. Oh, whoops. YouTube is full of kids. That's why you get trolled sometimes. Dude, YouTube is full of kids. And as a dad of two, as a 32-year-old dad of two who has a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, it's wild to me that parents be out here handing their kids a device and being like, yeah, full access to YouTube. It's fucking wild. What would you wish to have like a conversation to have it done? Browser automation? What do you mean, Kieran? You want me to write browser automation for you? I can do that, but like I said, I'm not terribly interested in that, so I'll probably charge you a pretty penny. I will happily give you a quote for the work, but it may be expensive. I don't mind doing browser automation for testing. Like if you want to do browser automation for testing, I'd be happy to do that. No, asking you. No, don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what your question then means. You know, I don't know what your question is then. Let's see, store. Why isn't that completing? Store. Dot new memory store. There we go. I don't think I like this song. I don't think I like it. I do not like it. There you go, that's better. We're gonna do, instead of doing a request body strongly shaped, we're gonna do a broken request body, which is going to be bytes.new buffer. And can I do this? What is the easiest way in Go to convert a string to a buffer? Go, easiest way to convert string to bytes. Or not, yeah, I guess not buffer, but bytes in Go. Do you just cast it? Kira, no, I'm asking you, would you like to chat somewhere and get your job done, like using browser automation? Oh, so you're you're asking me to hire you? Because I don't have a need for browser. I don't have a need for other people to do browser automation for me. I don't know if you misunderstood our conversation or something, but I know how to automate a browser. I know how to do those things. The question is, do I want to spend time doing those things? No, not really. So no, I don't have any need for that. So we're just gonna do a string then, and we'll do an array of bytes, and we'll say this is invalid JSON. Yep, just like that. And then we'll say new request, new recorder. We will get the expected status code here. We'll also get the results. result equals res.result. And now, if we go back and we rerun our test. Hello, Wilo Gamer Pro. Good morning. How are you? Are you doing well? And then we'll do cover, HTML coverage report, and now we have it covered. So this is why I love visual coverage tools like this, is because now we can see like this is what it was previously, right? So we did have red. I know this is really hard to see. I understand the color is just difficult. Just know that we used to have red, and now we have green. So now we know we have a test case that's covering that scenario. So this is one of my favorite ways to add tests to things. All right, we need to add a test for get. So we have create, and now we need get. Func test get, just like that. I wonder if Copilot can write these for me. Looky there. We're going up. We were at 34%, now we're at 50%. Yeah, I gotta say, this is probably one of the best parts about writing Go, is the fact that tests, okay, not only do they have testing built in, they have benchmark built in, they have a coverage tool built in, they have a way to view the coverage report that it produces built in. What else do they have? They also have a built-in way to do HTTP testing. I mean, that's pretty fucking awesome from a developer experience perspective. I wish .NET had all that out of the box. You can do it all in .NET, you just have to bring in all these different packages, and you have to know what packages to use, and I mean, this is nice. Expected status code 404, but got status code 400. Okay, so why are we getting status code 400? So let's go into our handler. No, we need to go to our get definition. Volknik. I think it's how you say it. I'm just gonna call you Volk. Hello, good to see you. Hello, Aus Deutschland. Is that German? Does that mean you're in German? You mix it up. Yeah, it proves many things out of the box. Provides many. Yeah, which is super awesome, right? Like, although I will say, so it's funny because I say, wow, that's so nice that all that stuff is out of the box. But then, like, they don't have a queue struct just out of the box. Like, if you want your own queue, you gotta implement it, right? Whereas in .NET, there's just a queue class. Like, when you want to have a queue, you just new up a queue, right? So it's like there's this trade-off with Go where it's like there's some things that are just really nice, they're built in, but then there's other things that are non-trivial that Go makes you implement yourself that C# just already has an implementation for you. So it's like this half dozen or the other, I guess. When I write C and write Go, it's a big difference even with Python. Yeah, I believe it, man. Yeah, Python versus Go. I've never written any C, but definitely you can see the big difference between Python and go. Hello, Ostdeutschland. That's German. Google Translate. Man, OBS needs to add Google Translate into the chat. Hello from Germany. That's pretty cool. We haven't had very many Germans in the chat. Nice to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. How do I say hi back in German? Let's see. Also, I need to go get more coffee. How do I say hello from America? Hello from America.
Hallo aus Amerika.
Hello aus America. I bet I just sounded like...
Hallo aus Amerika.
Hello aus America. I bet I just sounded like the most white person speaking German ever, but hello, good sir. Nice to have you here. All right, coffee time. Coffee break. After I've written 10 lines of code, I know, but streams go fast, so let's go get another cup of coffee. Also, I just like to show off my animated BRB sign, so I want an excuse to do that. All right, be right back. If you got a ditch, I get it. So if you're leaving, thanks for hanging out with us. Otherwise, if you're staying, I'll be right back. Talking about Brad Pitt? Why are we talking about Brad Pitt, huh? Random. Random. Let's see, where I need to be in the get method. So if parse ID error, if unable to get ID, huh? So why is it unable to get the ID? You know what? I've never actually, in all this time that we've been writing Go, I don't know if I've ever tried to do a hold on. How do I open Control Shift? No, it's Control T. There we go. Yeah, I don't think I ever set up NeoTest for Go in my NeoVim configs. Did I ever set up a debugger? Like, can I debug this? I don't think I ever set up a debugger either. DC. No configuration found for Go. You need to add configs for dap configurations.go. Oh man, should we do that? Should we fuck around with our NeoVim configs a little bit? Maybe. Probably should. Well, let's figure out why this test is not giving us the results we would expect though first. So we have a valid ID. We're expecting a not found, but we're getting an error. Let's do go test and run it with the -v flag and see if anything pops out there. No. But got status code 400. So we're getting a status code of 400, which means the only place this can really be hitting is here. So why are we getting there? So we're doing r.pathValue ID. I wonder, maybe we don't have it properly defined in our routes. No, we do, right? ID. Well, what could it be? Well, I guess since we don't have our debugger hooked up, we're just going to have to print the error. So let's do format.println. Parsing an empty string, invalid syntax. Huh. I'm stumped. I guess let's just do path and let's see what that is. So let's do format.println r.path. Let's see what that is. Okay. So this is our path. This error we expect. This one we don't though. But this has to be staring me right in the face, right? Chat, I mean, what am I doing wrong? Yeah, there's no value. So why does this work? How come this works when I run the thing manually, but it doesn't work in my tests? So if I do error like this, and then let's go open up Postman. Okay, so we're gonna create a copy. Boom. 201. Now we're gonna get our copy with an ID of 1. There must be something about my test code that's wrong. But what is it? I don't know. Let's see if our good friend Gemini can help us. I'm writing an HTTP test in Go using the HTTP test package. One of my endpoints has a ID path parameter. When I call this endpoint manually, the ID value resolves correctly. But in my tests, I get nothing for the ID value, despite it being present in the path. Well, let's see if our good pal Gemini can help us rubber duck our way through this. So you can even see in the logs here, this was the path we got and this was the ID we got, right? So we can see it's working. You can run your application normally. Your router intercepts the request, parses URL, extracts the ID, and injects it into the request context. When you use HTTP new request, you are creating a raw request. What? No way. Pass the request to the mux, not the handler function? Really? They don't talk about that in Learn Go with tests at all. That's a really sneaky one. So I wonder what the best practice is. So basically it's saying if I want this to work, that request object has to have, so I'm guessing under the hood when we do get, so I'm guessing under the hood path value calls something into context. Raymondes, thank you for subbing, I appreciate it. Pat index R matches. What's this guy? Where are you defined at? Are there no go to definitions here? Where does r.matches get set? The following fields are for requests matched by what? By serve mux. Oh yeah, serve mux. So I guess this never probably gets called. Well, shit. I guess the question becomes then, how do we want to fix this? I don't think I want to have, when I test the handlers, I don't think I want to have to always pass things through the like some sort of test thing. But maybe I do. Let's see if this guy talks about it. HTTP test. Test greeter server. Driver. Oh yeah, this is where he's doing. This is like where he's building, I think, an HTTP server. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we have to do what Gemini says, huh? It makes me think that this needs to be more of like an integration test than is what this needs to be less of a unit test than. Dude, that's wild. Let's see. HTTP test with path parameters. Let's see. How to pass path param. Let me present my usual solution with the Gorilla package. Well, I'm not using the Gorilla package. mux.set URL vars. I don't think I want that. Oh, wasn't there a... Hold on. I think this is actually simpler than what I was thinking. When I was looking at that request object, wasn't there a rec.set? There we go. Yeah, set path value. Yeah. Let's try this. I don't know how that works or if that works, but let's see. Hey, it works. That was much easier than I thought it was gonna be. Okay, so we just need to make sure so let's do can you do a constant here? Yeah, you can. So let's do test copy ID. And we'll do thanks, Midnight Report, for subbing. I appreciate that. Midnight Report. That makes me think of threat level Midnight from The Office. I don't know if you guys are into that. Wonderful. Wonderful. So now we just need to know we need to call set path value whenever we have something or at least in our unit test, if we're doing something that's like a true integration test. Okay, cool. Now we need to do, let's see, what else do we need to do? Let's rerun our Go tool cover. Now we need to write one for parse ID. We wrote one for the get error. Now we need to write one where we actually get the value back. So let's do test.run. Yep, that looks right. That looks right. It's fine. Store add with ID. Nope, that's not that's a hallucination. This does not exist. It should be store.add coffee. And this returns our ID. We don't really need, we don't need this. Yeah, that's fine. We just set the value to let's do instead of doing that, let's do test coffee ID string. Yep, and then we do res, new recorder. We'll handle we expect okay. And let's also make sure we assert that we get the right shape of the body back. So let's do var that. Yep. That looks right. And then we'll do if name present. Awesome. Although this is such a, I don't know about you goers. What do you call you guys? What do you call people who write Go? Goers? .netters? C-sharpers? I don't know what you would call a goer. A person who writes Go. This is just ugly as sin. Like that's, I'm sorry, but that's ugly. Midnight Report YouTube. Are you just coding for fun or making a game or AI? So I'm basically coding so that I can learn Go. That's the whole point of the November streams right now. We're gonna do Advent of Code starting December 1st. And so the whole point of the November streams were to basically do all this. So we learned the basics of Go by following a couple tutorials. We did some practice problems in Advent of Code, and now we're actually building some projects with Go. So I've never built like a REST API with Go, which is kind of one of them. I mean, it seems like every backend language you should know how to build a REST API in. So that's what we're doing right now, is just kind of exploring what it looks like to build a REST API. And right now what I'm doing is I'm writing tests for my endpoints, my handlers for my endpoints on my API. So that's what all this code is it's testing a specific handler. So let's do go test. Awesome. And that's our get endpoint. Our get endpoint is now tested. And now we'll do func test. I'm not going to do get all yet because get all actually needs some rework to it because we want to support paging from that endpoint. So that one actually we're just going to leave as a to-do. And then we're going to move on to doing the replace. So we'll do func test replace. And there's a few different scenarios we need to test here. Oh, I'm taking coding classes right now. Very cool, man. Any particular language you're learning, Midnight Report? Learning JavaScript, Python, maybe Java? Yeah. Learning to code is a ton of fun. Let's see. So the first scenario we want to test with the replace is it should return a 400 status code when the ID is not valid. Yep, should do that. Java? Nice. Yeah, Java may. I tell you what, if you want a job, Java's the language to learn, I would say. I mean, it's used in so many places and so many industries. There's actually there's a company here, I don't know, Midnight Report, I don't know if you're in the United States, but there's a company, a fairly big company that's not too far from me. Garmin International, they're the people that make the watches. They also make stuff for like GPS. They're pretty big in the boat world too, I think. They do a lot, obviously they do a lot of embedded systems type of development, but they also have a very big, as I understand, a very big Java presence, or at least Java has a pretty significant presence in their stack. So yeah, you can't go wrong, man. That we were actually talking about that chat the other day. We were looking at the JetBrains developer report, and the two languages that were the most primary language of all the developer surveys were Python and Java, which was pretty crazy to me. I would have put Python in there, but I don't think I would have put Java up there. I would have thought JavaScript would have been. I would have thought it would have been like JavaScript and Python. But what do I know? Be read. Yep, that's correct. And then we'll do. I doing coding training for the U.S. Air Force. Dude, that's a baller. You're in the U.S. Air Force and they train you how to code? Killer, dude. Very cool. That sounds like a great experience, man. Let's see. And then we'll also need a test for t.run. It should return 200 status code when successful. Yep. So we're going to do, what are we going to do? Well, first we should probably dry up our code a little bit. Like, there's probably, what part of the U.S. are you from? So I'm in Kansas City, Kansas. So I'll actually say where bro at. It'll hook you up. I'm on the south side of Kansas City. It's currently 42 degrees outside. It's very chilly. What about you? Where are you located in the U.S.? North, south, east, west? All right, what is the over under that Copilot can write all these for us? Probably pretty good. I mean, these are relatively simple CRUD tests, right? This is what it was like born to do. South Florida. It's 26 degrees in Florida right now? Shit. I guess I feel lucky. Not Florida, Louisiana. Oh, nice. But 26 degrees, really? Are you pulling my leg? This says 50 degrees Fahrenheit. According to Google right now. Louisiana, it says 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Now I'm sus midnight report. Now I'm sus if you're actually in the United States. I think, I don't know, that's what my phone says probably. Well, your phone, I mean, I don't know, man. If you really are in Louisiana, your phone's way off, according to Google. There we go. Now Copilot's really waking up this morning. Let's see. This is the stuff Copilot is just, god dang, man. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Oh, you have a VPN? Yeah, that'll do it. Expected status code 500, but we got status code 400. Actually, I think that kind of makes sense, right? Let's see what my code says. So my code says, if we can't read the error... Oh, nope. The reason why we're getting 500 is because we can't parse the ID. And we can't parse the ID because we didn't set that value up here. So we need to say rec.setPathValue. That. Now it should work. Also, why do I still have so many print statements in my... Oh, that's when we were debugging our error. We should probably log these errors too, shouldn't we? Like, for parse ID error, like we should probably log that. Format dot, is there a, or maybe it's logged dot, so like an error? I guess just print line, huh? But yeah, we should definitely log it though. In any case, Raymondus, Windsurf or Copilot, in your opinion, is better for NeoVim? I've never tried Windsurf before, so I can't really... I'm sorry, I should probably stop yawning as I answer your question. I can't really speak to Windsurf, because I've never used it. I really do enjoy Copilot, though. I've been a Copilot subscriber for a long time, and I haven't had any issues with it, using it in the CLI, using it in NeoVim, using it in VS Code. Yeah, it's great. I know a lot of people are like, Claude Code's better, and Copilot, like, there's a lot of people who are content farming out there who are trying to like pit the different agents against each other, but all the agents I've used have all been decent enough for what I do. So it's Copilot's my friend. And when I say Copilot, I mean GitHub Copilot, not like the other Copilot that Microsoft has. So Midnight Report, Copilot 100. Yeah, Copilot's great, man. It really is. It makes stuff like this. Like, I know, like, I could write all this code, right? But I know this is the code I'm going to write. you know? And I know I'm going to write it because it's how every other test in this file is written. So I can literally tab through a test like this in a fraction of the time it would take me to write it by hand, which is just wonderful. It's a wonderful use case for AI, in my opinion. Aziz, hi, I'm new to the stream. What are you building? So, to kind of give you some context, we've been, for the last month, last month or so, we've been learning Go, or I've been learning Go. So, I participate in this challenge every year called Advent of Code. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically like it's like a Christmassy holiday themed code set of puzzles, sort of like Leak Code style puzzles, right? But they usually have a much more involved story around them. And the last 2 years, I've done it in C#, which is kind of typically my primary language. I usually work in C# and TypeScript. But this year I decided, well, I want to do it in a different language, so I picked Go. So we've spent the last 29 days basically learning Go. So we're kind of at the end of our learning journey where we're actually trying to build projects with it. And so one of the things I feel like you should always be able to do in any backend language is you should be able to figure out how to write a REST API. Right? It's just such a common backend task. And so right now I'm working through implementing a very simplistic kind of toy REST API. And we're currently writing tests for some of the endpoints in that API. So that's what we're doing. So good to have you here. Welcome to the stream. Midnight Report. I'm working on coding an AI like ChatGPT right now. Oh, really? Very cool. Are you following a book, or what's kind of the tech stack you're working on? How are you doing that? I'd love to hear about that. Volk, you don't mean the co-pilot on the plane? Yeah, not that co-pilot either. MD, when are you moving to Linux though? Well, I'm going to move to Linux whenever I can afford to buy one of these. My commitment has basically been the next time I get a laptop, I'm going to use it as a Linux machine, my kind of like a daily driver Linux machine. So I'll have my Windows desktop that I'll use for streaming and whatnot. And I'll have my laptop, which I'll daily drive Linux on. But the laptop I want to get is a framework. I'd really like to get one of these. I saw one of these at KCDC, or not KCDC. I saw one of these at Kansas City DevOps Days, like last year. The framework was there with a booth, and I got to use one of their 13s, and I was like, yeah, this is so cool. Like they showed how to take it apart and like how you can swap out components and everything. But I kind of want to get like a beefy version, like I want to spec it all the way out. But that's like a couple $1,000 laptop by the time you get it all specced out, Like, let's see. We need at least 96 gigs of RAM, right? And you need at least 4 terabytes or 8 terabytes of the fastest memory. And we'll bring our own. We'll do a Marchi. We'll just do black for the bezel. So yeah, see, like we're already up to $3,000. So whenever I can afford to buy one of these completely spec'd out framework laptops, that's when I'll make the switch. Or hold on. Or chat, wait a minute. Or if Windows really does start trying to turn Windows into an agentic operating system, I don't know if you guys saw that tweet, but if Windows really starts becoming an agentic system, then I'll be switching to Linux. I'm totally okay with Windows putting AI into. I'm totally okay with Microsoft putting AI into Windows, as long as you don't force me to use it. As long as you give me a way to disable it or to turn it on and off as I want to, totally fine. But if you start really fucking with my Windows experience, yeah, then I will be switching to Linux. I'm trying to figure out what is the best IDEs right now. Oh, Well, hold on. You said you're working on coding an AI like ChatGPT, right? You said you're working on building basically a transformer. So I thought maybe you already had like a tech stack and had figured out what language and what libraries and tools you were going to use. I actually earlier this year, um, I bought this book earlier this year, and it was a lot of fun. It kind of walks you through building a transformer, a very small transformer, but it was a lot of fun. It used they used Python and PyTorch, I think is what we used. Now I can't even remember. I'm pretty sure it was PyTorch. There's only a couple. There's TensorFlow and there's PyTorch. Is really the primary two in the Python world. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think it might be TensorFlow. I don't know. My code is online, so why don't I just look at my code? It was a lot of fun. I'd like to do it again. I'd like to go through the back of that book and do it in TypeScript. You know what I mean? Like, instead of just following along with the book and writing all the code that's in the book, I'd like to try to re-implement everything that's in the book, but in a different stack, right? I think that might help me learn it better. OS ints. The one thing I love about these streams is how it starts out with some coding and turns mostly into coffee and chatting. It's so chill. It really does, man. It really does. But that's because I try to prioritize the interaction over the productivity. Because I feel like if I want to be super productive, I should just not stream. Like if you're gonna stream, that kind of defeats the point. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoy the vibes. That's what we're going for. Let's see. I think I could have sworn it was TensorFlow. Requirements. No, I guess it was PyTorch is what we used. I guess I was right. I said PyTorch, didn't I? Yeah. So PyTorch is what we used. It was a lot of fun. Good book. I recommend it if you're interested in that sort of thing. Volk. I'm in university and have to do a project by developing a blog page. The goal is to deploy it safe by using CI/CD, Docker, and more. That sounds like a wonderful project. Any structure for any tips for the structure for the API? Volk. So if I'm understanding correctly, you're going to have something like this. Is it going to be server rendered, or is it going to be client side rendered? Like, are you going to have a separate back end and a separate front end, or are you going to have it all be like a monolithic, like a Next.js project? Like, how are you planning on building it? Because I have some thoughts. But they probably depends a little bit on like how you're planning on actually structuring your project. Good morning, Rampla. Good to see you again. I don't know about Warframe, but yeah, the Stranger Things. Yeah, Stranger Things is back with full force. I'm guessing a lot of people spent their Black Friday binge watching Stranger Things, which I can't blame them. Raymondes, do you have a full-time job? I do, yeah. So if you're interested, you want to connect, I'm on LinkedIn. You can creep on all my professional history over on LinkedIn. So I work full-time as a quality engineer. So I do manual and automated testing for a pretty large and pretty complex no-code SaaS product. It's kind of in the GRC space. Obviously, everything I do on this channel is completely separate from what I do in my professional life. There's like professional Steven life, and then there's non-professional Steven life. And my YouTube stuff all falls on the nothing I say here is reflective of my employer. All the legal disclaimers that I should say right here, insert them. But yeah, I do work full time. I'm a 32-year-old dad of two. I live in Kansas City, Kansas. I work a full-time job, and I enjoy coding and programming and making content. So in my free time, I like to do stuff like this. Draw boxes on screens. that all to us, the stack and more. My goal is a React front end sending everything to an HTTP Nginx web server. This is sending everything to a back end where I render the MD blog note is all. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Okay, so basically your architecture will look like this. You'll have, let me create some boxes here, right? So you'll have, basically you'll have 3 components to this thing, right? So you said Nginx, so I'm guessing that's going to handle the incoming requests, right? So you'll have Nginx here, that'll act as your proxy. And then you're going to have a front end and a back end, right? Oh, things are getting serious, chat. Whenever we start drawing boxes on the screen, we know we're in serious territory. So you're gonna have something like this, right? So this will be React. I mean, you could build this 100 different ways, right, chat? I mean, I think all of us could probably say you can build this 100 different ways. And then you're gonna have some sort of backend that handles actually parsing the blog. So blog backend. Okay. So I think my only recommendation then for this would be, if it was me, whatever domain you end up serving this on, I guess this is the first thing I'm thinking. So if you ended up serving this on volk.blog, like that, what I would do is I would have one domain, and I would proxy from this domain to the React front end, right? Like imagine this React front end is sitting in like I mean, it doesn't have to. This could be sitting in like a static folder, right? This could be like an index.html, just a static files in a folder. I don't know how you want to do this. If it was me, I'd probably put this in a Docker container with Nginx in the container, and I would probably just serve Nginx to this React container running in Docker. But I would have one domain, and then what I would do is I would configure Nginx to proxy everything under this path API to your backend, right? So imagine people hit your React front end at volk.blog, then volk.blog will issue requests to API / whatever, and then that allows you to not have to deal with cores or any of the whole headache of that. I mean, it's not really that complicated of a thing, but it's frustrating whenever you trip over cores. So you don't have to worry about that. And then you also don't have to worry about setting up, like if you did it the other way, if you did api.volk.blog, then you have to worry about cores, you have to worry about certificates if you're going to serve this behind HTTPS, all that good stuff. So I would do it like this. And then, so volk.api goes here, and volk.blog goes here. And then as far as your backend, let's see, if you're working in React, I would just write this in Hano. I don't know if you've heard of that. Hano.js. This is a really awesome TypeScript first. It's kind of like a newer version of Express, right? If you ever heard of Express, you might check out Hano. Makes it really simple to write APIs. You can also add I mean, it doesn't sound like you're going to need much validation because you're just returning data to your front end, but this is probably what I would do, something like this. You could also, I don't know if this is probably more than what you need, honestly. Like you could also build this, even simpler, right? You could just have a single, for example, with Hano, you could actually just have a single Hano app that parses the markdown and returns it as HTML straight to the browser. You could do that too. So there's lots of options. Sounds like a fun project though. It sounds like you'll learn a lot because you're gonna have to learn about Docker. You're gonna have to learn about CI/CD. You're gonna learn about Nginx. Sounds like a great project for web development. If you get stuck, let me know. or let our Discord know. You can always join our Discord, and if you get stuck, I know this is for university, but obviously if you need help, be happy to help you. I'm about to write it in Go because we need to implement auth via Argon 2ID and more, so I want to do it in Go. Yeah, why not? Go's good. Go's good. I'm using, so my API in Go is written in the vanilla. I'm sorry, two people subbed and I missed their names. Let me replay that so I can tell them thank you. Yeah, so my only advice on the Go side is, I don't know if I should give advice on the Go side because I'm still figuring it out, honestly. I think, yeah, I don't have any Go specific API advice. I have API advice, but it's nothing Go specific. You know, like return well structured errors, return proper status codes, follow like the basics of the REST kind of idiom. Yeah, nothing Go specific because I'm still kind of sorting things out myself. I know there's some frameworks. Somebody recommended. I am not using a framework. I'm just using the built-in HTTP package in Go. But somebody recommended. It was Renee. It's one of my members, Renee. They recommended, what was that framework? Go web framework. I know Gorilla. Gorilla is like a really popular one, I guess. I think it might have been Gen. It was either Gen or Fiber. This one seems to be really popular. Gorilla Web Toolkit. This is referenced in a lot of tutorials. But yeah, there's probably, using one of these frameworks probably makes your life a lot easier. Yeah, I think Gen is what I was thinking. Caddy is your like Nginx alternative. You know, if you didn't want to use Nginx as your web server, you could use Caddy. I've only used Caddy once on this little toy MacBook Air I have over here in my. I don't have much experience with Caddy, but I've heard good things. The folks over at the Syntax FM podcast, shout out Syntax FM. If you're not a subscriber, you should be a subscriber. These guys, they're pretty great, but they speak very highly of Caddy. I guess Caddy makes it really easy to do the HTTPS side of things. Yeah, you guys should go subscribe to Syntax if you're not already. They make really good content here on YouTube. But yeah, I think it was Gen. I think Gen is what Renee had recommended in at one point in the comments of one of my shorts. Let's see, activity feed. Who were the last? There was two people that subbed, and I completely talked right by them. I think we had Victor. Let's see, we had Andy. Let me just replay these. So we had Rust IW. Thanks for subbing. Appreciate you. We had Andy. Thank you, Andy, for subbing. Victor. Thank you, Victor, for subscribing. Appreciate you. And then we had Boring. Boring, I think is how you say this guy's name. Boring. Thank you guys for all the subs. I really appreciate it. It's very kind of you. All right, back to our tests. Okay, so now let's see. Copilot helped me continue my productivity. We have our handler. Wonderful. Look at us. We're making progress. We're going to get to damn near 100% before the day's out. Thank you, Copilot. There's definitely some stuff here in the in the code that I need to dry up though. There's a lot of repetitiveness in these tests that I could probably dry up. Although personally, I mean, this is just my thought. When it comes to test code, I'm totally okay with test code not being super dry. I think that sometimes when you try to dry up your test code too much, you end up coupling tests too tightly. And then when requirements evolve or change, you end up having to change tests needlessly to deal with the changing requirement, right? You end up having to refactor to decouple things. We don't need a name. It's not going to return a name. I think it's just going to return an ID. I think this is going to fail. Yeah. We don't want a name in there. So let's do we just want the ID. We just want to make sure the ID is there, and then let's also make sure that we actually updated it in the store. So what we can do is we can say updated coffee. We can get it, and then we can say if updated coffee does not equal flat white, we're in trouble. Oh, it doesn't have, it has a get name function. There we go. There we go. Now we rerun. Look at us. We're just making progress. 70% coverage. Good evening, Bradley. Oh, yeah, Bradley's in Australia. So it's evening for Bradley, but morning for me. How are you doing, Bradley? Good to see you. See you midnight report. Have fun at work. Be safe. If you're doing anything dangerous for the Air Force, be safe. Volk. I imported Gin once and 2 vulnerabilities, had to do a sec vectro analysis, and I'm not allowed to import stuff like this. We have to document why we took the dependency and have to write a checklist like, is there MIT, is it in development, are there CVEs and more, less dependency, less headache. Yeah, true. I mean, 100% true. It's a trade-off, right? Well, I mean, I think that's awesome that your university is forcing you to do that, because you're basically doing like software supply chain, right? Where you're making sure it's like teaching you like, hey, if you take a dependency on something, you need to do your homework on it. I mean, most people just .NET add or go get without ever. I mean, they just pull in the package. Who gives a shit? But that's probably the best practice is what you're doing. It does save you work, 100%. But then it's a trade-off. What I was gonna say though is it's a trade-off when you don't want to bring in a package because you don't want to take a dependency. That means then you are taking on the overhead of maintaining your own implementation of whatever that package is supposed to solve. I think there's arguments that can be made for either side of that decision. Max password MXPW endless. I have no idea how to say your username. Why did you just put Java code into the chat? We're writing Go, and I'm a TypeScript .NET person. We have yet to take our side quest down the Java rabbit hole. Thank you, Midnight. Yeah, be safe, man. Be safe. Now let's see what our coverage report looks like. It's looking good. It's looking good. All right, we need to add a test for remove. So we'll do func test remove. And there's like I think there's only 3 scenarios here we need to test. We need to test if we can't get the ID parsed correctly, which Copilot can figure that out, which is wonderful. And then we need one for 404 if it can't find the coffee. And then it needs 1 for 200 if it does actually successfully delete. Volk, just use JCell? I don't know. So do you just go around YouTube and do you just have that snippet of Java ready, copy and paste into chat? Bradley, poor forgotten Java. Yeah. I mean, the thing is though, like Java's legit, man. You can get a job if you know Java. Like you can fucking get a job. I think the same can't necessarily be said about other languages. If you know Python, you know Java, chances are you can probably land a job these days. Maybe not doing the coolest, the coolest stuff, but definitely a job. Let's see. Should I do the backend in C or assembly to be cool? No. You should do the backend in Go, like you said. Seems like doing it in C or assembly is just a reason to flex. I don't know how to write C or assembly. First thing I ever learned was some Java, good old Java swing. Nice. Yeah, I mean Java's everywhere, right? I mean Netflix, Java. I mean, like I said, Garmin here in Kansas City. I think they have a pretty big Java code base somewhere inside of that organization. So yeah, that's it's a language for sure. I mean, can you get jobs in other languages? Sure. It's just if you really wanted to increase your chances, right? This does not exist. This is if error equals nil. All right, look at our code coverage report for this file. We started with this is where we started. Yeah, see all the red? Lots of red. We started at 20% coverage. Now we're at 90. Let's go. The only part that we aren't covered is the part that I didn't want to cover, which is the get all endpoint, which I have a to-do to actually go back and add paging support for this. Not that my toy API really needs to support large amounts of data, but I think it would be helpful to know how to implement kind of a basic page size, page number type of paging implementation. I think that would be helpful to know how to do that in Go. There's a lot of opportunity in this test code though to dry it up. Like there's a lot of repetition. Probably can create some helper methods for sending our request. Probably create some helper methods for creating our new memory store and our handler. This is the kind of stuff that, like in XUnit, right? If you're in the .NET world, you would have something like, you would have like an XUnit, and you'd have some private fields, and then within the constructor, you'd probably have like test depths as fields, and then in the constructor, you would initialize those fields on every test, right? So I'm not sure what that looks like in Go. Let's see. Let's see if Go has like, what would it be? I don't even know what you'd call it. Like, you know how in like ViTest or VTest, no, not VTest, ViTest, you have like before each, before all, right? I wonder if Go has stuff like that as part of their test package. Test setup in Go. Volk.net is very close to Java, or am I wrong? So I've never written any Java. I've read a little bit of Java. I've never written any. So I can't really say that, but a lot of people in my chat have always said that C# is Microsoft's Java, which apparently there's some history to support that, like based on the development history of C#. Like it originally started as sort of like a Microsoft's answer to Java, apparently, based on what I've read and what chat has told me. All of that was before my time, so I'm just taking other people's words for it. But yeah, so they've told me that Java is very similar to C#. So I'm guessing if you know one, you can kind of pick up the other relatively easily. Good morning, Arvin. Good to see you, sir. Gunn said, "You're totally wrong." Renee, sorry about that triple comment, Steven. I deleted the other 2 comments. Embarrassing. Oh, hey, man. Comment all you want. Comment all you want, man. It's more engagement for me. So if you guys would like to find some of my videos and posts and just leave repetitive comments, that's totally fine with me. Spam the hell out of my comments. .NET don't stand even bare Java. Don't stand near Java. Well, not today. Like I would say, if I had to guess, I would say C# and .NET. .NET as a platform and C# as a language have evolved to where there's probably more significant differences in C# and Java today. But my understanding is that they have a lot of similarities, so you could learn one if you know the other relatively easily. But again, I just hate to speak. I hate to give much of an opinion because I just never used the other language, right? So it's like maybe I would use Java and fall in love with it, and like that would be my number 1 language. But I've just never used it, so I hate to speak on it. Arvin, one of the witnesses of C# is so close to Java has come. Any questions, chat? Yeah. Arvin has been one of the people who has said that. Renee, I had intermittent data, and I guess me double-clicking on sending the comment caused that triple comment fiasco. Yeah, no worries, man. Triple comment it up, you know? Triple comment it up. Renee, Java is my wife and C# is my mistress. Dude, that's awful. That's awful. I'm a one-woman man, you know? Happily married. Let's see. Go provides a test main function for global setup and teardown. Interesting. Well, I don't want to do global setup. So what does per test setup look like? So it has per test cleanup, but it doesn't have per test setup. T.cleanup, teardown for this specific test. Set up for this specific test. So there's no like before each or before all. It's an interesting choice. T dot before, nope. Cleanup. Cleanup registers a function to be called when the test or subtest and all of its subtests complete. Cleanup functions will be called in last added first called. Interesting. So I guess what you could do is you could technically, you know, if you wanted to do something like, technically, you could do something like store, right? And you could have a handler, and then you could do test.cleanup, and you could just reset them all, I guess, here, right? I don't think I like that, though. Don't care for reassignment like that. I think I would rather just have like I think I'd just rather than have like a function that's like set up tests or something like that. Set up the system under tests, maybe, and then just return these. Yeah, that's probably what I would do if it was me. And then instead of repeating myself here all the time, just get the store and the handler by calling that setup function. So we have store, or I guess handler. I think I'd rather have store handler like this. So let's flip these. We're gonna do store. Yeah, like that. And we're gonna flip these to be store handler. Like that. Although why? The only thing I don't like about that is that I have to discard. So I guess that's a reason to not return the store first, or return the handler first, and then you can do handler. But you still have to ignore the store. See, I don't know if I like that. I just always have to discard the things I don't want. Because imagine your setup has like multiple things that you have to initialize under test, and then what? You just end up returning a huge tuple or a huge number of ordered return values. Probably not the best pattern to follow, but for this it's probably fine. So let's redo what I did. We are gonna do this. We're gonna do store, that, and then we're gonna remove our store. Pablo, what are you arguing? Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Let me go back. We've gone on a rant here on Java.NET. Code maybe got similarities, but .NET never was near Java. Java uses virtual machines to run. .NET never got any virtual machine. Gun, I was there 3,000 years ago. I was not there in the before time, so I can't speak to any of this. Even so, both C# and Java are similar to C++ and Pascal. Well, isn't everything similar to everything at some point? Isn't there a one-time setup equivalent? I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. Good morning, Pablo. Good to see you, man. Or rather a setup that gets called before every test. Yeah, it seems like you kind of have to implement that yourself from what I'm reading. Volk, time to get some coffee. It is indeed time to get more coffee because my coffee cup is in fact empty. There's nothing. I mean, how am I supposed to write code like this? I mean, what are these working conditions? There's no coffee in this cup. How's anyone expected to code without coffee? I'm in my unemployed weekend. Yeah, this is your last one, right, Pablo? You start on Monday? Monday's the big day, dude. Everyone, W in chat for Pablo's new job. Okay? W in chat. It's awesome, man. Super, super, super exciting. Very happy for you. I hope it goes well. What have I done here in the chat? I just let my thought win and wrote .NET is very close to Java, or am I wrong? Yeah, and then you blew up the chat, man. Arvin, Steven, do you saw my comment? Let me look up Pablo. Thanks, Steven. Of course, man. Dude, I don't know. I know I don't know any of you guys like in real life, you know. I know we only know each other via the stream and over the internet, but I feel this way about everybody. I want you guys to win. Like regardless of whatever that means for you in your life, I want you to win. You know, so I'm always excited when you guys have good stuff going on in your lives. I thought you had the cup on the keyboard. I have this. You mean this thing? The Ember mug? Yeah, I'm not using it today. But, yeah, maybe I should use it. Arvin, what was your comment? Sorry. Which one, Arvin? I see them all. Either Microsoft giveth thee or it is paid. C# is similar to Java. ASP.NET is similar to Spring, but I doubt you guys have ecosystem like we have here. Jakarta, Apache, Glassfish, Jetty, Jersey, JUnit. I would say again, it's like I don't know anything about the Java ecosystem, but I would say the .NET and C# ecosystem are pretty baller because of the sudden W's in the chat. Oh, you mean here? Yeah. I'm setting the coffee cup on the W key right now. Hello, Ahmad. Good to see you, man. I'm a first-year computer science student. Any advice? Well, Ahmad, I didn't go to school for computer science, so I can't offer you much advice on the computer science front. I think Pablo, I think you have a computer science or CS, kind of some sort of CS degree, so maybe you can offer more advice on that side of things, or anybody else in chat that has more of a CS background. My one piece of advice from a university or college perspective is don't let things pile up. Don't make sure you do your stuff. Do a little bit every day, like whatever readings or assignments or homework or whatever it is that you've been assigned, whether it be CS related or not. Stay on top of it every day. Do a little bit of reading, do a little bit of homework, whatever it is, but don't let it pile up on you because it's super easy to get to the end of a week and to feel that you're buried. And then because you feel buried, you feel overwhelmed. And because you feel overwhelmed, it's difficult to get started on the things that you need to do. And then it just turns into a whole snowball of train wreck and disaster. So do a little bit every day, stay on top of it, makes it way more manageable. What would be my other advice? I don't know what kind of university you're going to. I went to a university where my professors were very accessible. So if your professors or your TAs are very accessible and they have office hours, like eat that up, man. I mean, when in your life are you going to be able to freely go and talk to people who have advanced degrees in the field that you're interested in, right? So like take advantage of the office hours, go ask all the questions that you have, whether they be career related, industry related, homework related. Like if there's an opportunity to interact with those people, take advantage of it. Yeah, I think those are my main two bits of advice, probably, from just a general college university perspective. Pablo, oh, I pile up. Not a good example. So Pablo, you like the pressure, huh? You like the Pablo, you like the deadline, the pressure of the deadline. Thank you guys. That's exactly what happened to me. Yeah, it's too easy. It's too easy to happen, right? You put something off for a couple days, and then all of a sudden you get assigned some more stuff, and then before they know it, you get to the end of a week, and you have like 10 assignments and 2 chapters to read, and it's just Yeah, it just kind of swallows you up. Yeah, just ask them their life, connect with them. They are human beings, 100%. Yeah, they're human beings, and like they can be a superpower from a networking perspective later in life, right? To be able to have people in the industry and in the academic part of the field. I don't know. I was really thankful. I went to a small state school here in the United States, and our teachers or our professors were paid way more to be teachers than they were to be like researchers. Like there was not a publish or perish mentality to the university I went to. So we had lots of time to interact with our professors, and that was one of the best experiences, was like hearing about their life story, hearing about how they made their decisions from a career perspective. And then obviously like just a wealth of knowledge about your particular field, right? They can explain the most complex of things in the most simplest terms. And you don't get that when you graduate college and you get into the real world and you start working. You can't just pick up the phone or walk into your PhD professor's office and have them explain XYZ thing to you. It just, you don't have that access anymore, really. So I would take advantage of it. Arvin, what are you saying about Java? Let me catch up here. I see you put some words in the chat. Let me catch up. So, um, shit is so enterprisey. Okay. Yeah. .NET and Java both give enterprise ecosystem feeling, I think. Although I think the .NET team's doing a really good job of trying to break out of that. Pablo, I mostly have ADHD. You know how this works. I do. Task avoidance is a thing in my household as well, so I know exactly what you're saying. I think in C# world, Microsoft gives a package or not. I have not read on Reddit that C# doesn't have that interconnected platform ecosystem of enterprise Java. I don't know. I think Microsoft's out of the box stuff is pretty interconnected. I mean, they have a really compelling story. If you're a Microsoft customer and you're building stuff with C# and .NET, I mean, they have a one-stop shop, right? They can take you from local dev all the way into production, and then they can also scale you because of Azure. So I don't know. I think C# and .NET are just fine. Um, in terms of like an interconnected platform, I don't see an issue there. Maybe the folks over on Reddit know more than me. Don't forget self-learning. The skill is you need for a job should be self-learned. Yeah, a lot of skills, 100%. Like the meta skill on top of everything in life is the ability to learn. So, but if you're in university at this point, if you're starting in university and you've navigated that path and you can navigate your way through university, I think you'll be okay. You probably have the ability to learn new stuff. I would second what Pablo said, honestly, about projects and networking. I didn't do a good job. I hate to give this advice because I did not do a good job of it when I was in college, but networking professionally, I think, is probably the most value added activity you can do from a career advancement perspective. Um, and I think college is probably a pretty good place for that. Like you should, like for example, if you have classmates, you should try to have as many friends in your graduating class as possible, ahead of you, behind you. Try to build the widest network of people because you don't know where those folks are going to land after graduation, right? So who knows, in 10 years, right? They might help you land a job. So yeah, build a wide network of peers, but look for opportunities to network professionally. I did a bad job of that in school. When I was in college, I basically just I went to class, I went to campus, went to class, and left, and that was about it. But now, as a professional at 32, all of my biggest wins professionally have come through my network. So I would highly second Pablo's advice. Hey Clipper, good morning. I bought my first laptop today. Any tips or tool recommendations? Okay, so Clipper, I have several. The first thing I always install on my machine is this task manager for the terminal. So, well, I guess Clipper, I should ask, are you gonna do Windows? Like, what's your OS? That's probably important for me to ask. I mean, this bottom works on any OS, so it doesn't really matter. But I would install this task manager so that you can run it in the terminal and it looks pretty and nice and cool. But yeah, I guess depending on your OS, I have other thoughts. Pablo's immediate piece of advice was get rid of Windows. Volk, I'm back with new coffee. Well, I should probably go get some coffee too then. Amon, thank you guys. I appreciate this. Yeah, of course, Amon. You're gonna kill it, man. It's good to be you. It sounds like you're on a very, very good track, dude. You're gonna kill it. Windows 11? Yeah, so I would install bottom. What are you gonna do with it, Clipper? Like, are you in the programming, coding, techie space, or are you more of just, use laptop for kind of like productivity? Whoops, that's not what I wanted. For productivity stuff? Because I have thoughts, but depending on what you're kind of using your computer for, I don't want to tell you like, oh, go and install Oh My Posh for PowerShell, and then you're like, well, I'm not a developer. That would be bad advice. All right, I'm gonna go get some coffee. I'll be right back. BRB chat. If you gotta go, if like you've been here but now you're leaving because I'm leaving, I totally get it. So if you are leaving, have a good day. If you're staying, I'll be right back. I almost forgot I was muted. Let's see. I'm trying to get into the coding space, learn as much as I can, and build projects to hopefully get a tech job in the future. Oh, awesome, Clipper. Well, I think Clipper, me and you are kind of shared souls in that sense because that was kind of my goal. That's kind of where I started from a place. I didn't really start from a place I wanted to get a tech job. I more started from a place of like I just didn't want the job that I had. Like I wanted to get a job that had the likelihood of offering me more time and flexibility with my family. And from that place, I ended up picking like, well, maybe I can become a software engineer. um, so that's how I kind of landed where I'm at. But I would recommend Clipper trying out freecodecamp.org. They're kind of the organization I think is just a great starting place if you're coming into this world of technology sight unseen, right? There's so much here, right? There's so much you could do, so many different paths you could take that it's really overwhelming, honestly. I mean, and everyone has a strong opinion, and it changes all the time, and it seems like every 3 months this industry shifts their position on something. So I think it's helpful to start with something like Free Code Camp because they give you a roadmap and a path, and that kind of helps you put your blinders on a little bit and just kind of focus on the thing you're doing, which I think is really nice. I mean, I think that's what college allows you to do. But if you're not going to go to college for a CS degree, or you're not going to pursue kind of a full university program, I think Free Code Camp's a great option because it's free. It's free, and it gives you a roadmap. So hopefully that, if you're still here, Clipper, hopefully you find that advice helpful. And then from there, I mean, there's a lot of recommendations on like tools and stuff that VS Code's a great editor to start with. Pick a browser. Postman is a great app to have on your machine. What else, chat? What are some things that maybe you would have installed kind of when you were first early on getting into code? On the new laptop. I'm excited for you. I wish you all the best. How are you guys managing to study and concentrate? There's only a month left until exams, and I'm starting from scratch. Eesh. Yeah. I think Volk's advice there on trying to leverage AI maybe to help sounds like good advice. Oh, Docker, Pablo, that's a good one. Yeah, Docker. Which I just if you're really brand new, WSL, those are good too. Docker Desktop, WSL. But chat, I think, right, like we can all understand that like if you're brand new to programming and coding and we were like Docker and WSL right there already, it's like I have so many questions. What the fuck is Docker? What is WSL, right? And then you start peeling that onion and you're like, well, Docker helps you deal with containers. Well, what are containers? Well, containers are instances of images. Well, what are images? It's like this onion just completely unravels very quickly. So I don't want to overwhelm anyone, but I agree. WSL, Docker, yeah. Notebook LM from Google is very good for lectures and summaries. I've heard that a bunch, Pablo. I've heard Notebook LM is great for that kind of stuff. I've not used it myself that much, but I've heard a lot of people recommend Notebook LM. Bradley, I started with just Visual Studio, to be honest. Visual Studio is great too. I mean, that's where I started when I took my first programming course in college. This would have been 2014, 2015. That was all in C#, and so we used Visual Studio. I actually had to go and get a window because I had a MacBook. So I had my father-in-law gave me like an old desktop PC he had because I needed a Windows machine to be able to do the coursework for the programming course, because obviously at that point in time there was no Visual Studio for Mac OS, and now there isn't either anymore. There was for a little bit of time, and now there's not. But yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing. There's nothing wrong with Visual Studio either. Visual Studio is plenty fine. Volk, learning Docker was a pain. Yeah, and I don't know if I still even know Docker. I mean, I use Docker, but Docker for me is a lot like Git. I think I've said this before. Docker, like me, is for Git in the sense that I know like the basics. Like I know like kind of like with Git. Like I'm very good at Git add, Git commit, Git checkout, Git rebase. Like the very kind of basic level usage of Git. That's the same way I am in Docker. Like I can do Docker run, Docker build. But as if you go off script or we get into really complex scenarios, I have to go to the documentation. I have to start LLMing it. I have to, you know what I mean? I got to get up to speed. Clipper, that's exactly how I'm thinking about it right now. Thankfully, I learned GitHub, Docker, and VS Code before I bought it. But there are so many options I see people go with. Yeah, I mean, and every option is a valid option, in my opinion. Like there's all these tools that people use to build software and deploy software and test software, and they all work to some extent because people do build successful implementations with them. So it kind of comes down to like what language do you like, what area of development do you enjoy, you know, like embedded systems, native development, web development, game development, you know, and a lot of that kind of dictates your tooling and your local dev setup and whatnot, you know. So you kind of find the things you fuck with and pursue those. Ahmed, I hope to become as good as you guys. No, Ahmed, I hope you become much, 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 much better than me. Various, thanks for subbing, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, because I'm not like on a scale of like uh bad to Pablo. I'm like way, way down near bad. So, so hopefully you become much, much better. Docker is not that hard. You just got to figure out their terminology. Fair enough. I learned how to write a Docker file, and then I used the UI. There's a UI for Docker, Pablo? For doing Docker files? Because Docker files, to me, is the hardest part of Docker. Like, figuring out what should be in a Docker file is the hard part, in my opinion. Like, do I use a non-root user? Do I not use a non-root user? Which base image do I use? Like, all those, there seems like there's a bajillion choices of what your Docker file should look like. And also a bajillion opinions on whether your Docker file is good or not. That's what you mean by the UI. Yes, Docker Desktop is a win. And Portainer. Portainer is the... God damn, I love Portainer. Docker files I write / copy by hand. Yeah, I copy a lot of them. A lot of the times I just Google like, I'm Dockerizing this type of an application. And somebody out there has kind of done it before, and I'm able to kind of riff on whatever they have already. Clipper, oh, that's part of the focusing on one path rather than trying to learn it all. That actually makes so much sense. Yeah, so if you know, if it, like we were kind of like earlier in the chat when everyone was arguing about Java versus .NET, that's a perfect example of where it's like, if you decide I like Java and I like web development, that sort of very quickly narrows the scope, narrows the things of what are in scope to, you know, it helps narrow. I'm saying the same words multiple times. It helps narrow the scope of what you need to learn, right? I'm gonna build web applications in Java, right? Or if you go the opposite way and you say, I'm gonna do mobile development in .NET, right? So it's like that helps a lot. Like, it doesn't mean you have to stick to that path. It just helps kind of concentrate you, and then you might go down that path and decide, you know what? Building CLI tools with Python sucks. So then you just back up and pick a different one and try it. So yeah, super helpful to frame it that way, to think about it that way. I do it all in the terminal. Can't stand Docker desktop. Well, I guess that's why they make a CLI and a GUI. There's different strokes for different folks. I have no experience with Kubernetes. Yeah, no experience with Kubernetes. To me is one of those things that has always felt very intimidating and way more complex than what I need for what I do. So I don't have really a professional excuse to know it. You know what I mean? Like, or I don't have like a professional requirement to know it at this point in my career. So it's been one of those things that I've kind of put off approaching. So if you'd like to teach me Kubernetes, join my Discord. I would be happy to be tutored on it because it just has felt like something that will require a lot of time and energy to figure out. But that might just be like a mental roadblock I've created for myself. Clipper, I always thought devs memorized everything. Well, if there are devs that do that, more power to them, but that's not me. I rely heavily on documentation, rely heavily on my Google Foo skills, rely heavily on AI now to look things up and tell me what I've done wrong. So yeah, I don't memorize. I don't memorize. There's definitely things that like it gets ingrained in your head because you do it so much that like it becomes memorized. But once you get outside of like a certain day-to-day task list, then I go and look things up. That's just how it is for me. Pablo always says what I'm gonna say before I say it. What, Arvin? I have no idea what that message means. Volk, I've built a garbage collector in C to manage it. I love that. I think I'm gonna try to knock out this to-do that I have for paging. So, this is another example where I'm gonna use AI because I know what I'd like to do, but I don't know Go well enough to understand how you would do this thing in Go. So I'm gonna ask Copilot to help me. Oops, sorry guys. I don't mean to hit my mic. I hit my mic way too much. I write C# every day for work and oftentimes forget simple things and need to look it up. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you know what's an interesting one that I always have to look up, and I shouldn't really because there's a link method called group by, and I don't know why this method fucks me up, but whenever I use this in C#, I always have to look up what the hell the second argument is supposed to be, which is where you basically do the transformation from the source to figure out how you want to group the elements, the return value. I always have to look this up. I always have to get an example of it. I don't know why. It just screws me up every time. Yeah, there's things like that, you know. Definitely things like that. Oh, I know. Pablo, the stuff you catch whenever stuff's on my screen is just, it's the best. Yeah, look at them generics, bro. If you want to know where C# type system or TypeScript's type system came from, or I guess the beginnings, I think. If the inspiration, right, is from C#. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's the same man, right? So you can tell the type systems came from the same individual. Like, what does this even mean, right? Like, what's okay, well, group by takes an I numeral of T source. This is the kind of stuff that, like, when you're talking to non-programmers, this is the kind of stuff they would look at on your screen and be like, what does the fuck does that even mean? Ahmed, are C programmers currently being hired in the job market? I don't write C, and I've never written C, and I don't know C, and I don't interact with any. I've not interacted with any developers who write C for a living. I did meet a gentleman who had a son on my son's flag football team who works at like a financial company. Like they're like have you guys ever heard of like the Chicago Board of Exchange? They basically deal with like stocks and finance related things. And he works in their engineering team there, and he was telling me they use a lot of C++, because I'm guessing in that environment, like performance, right, every millisecond, right, counts. But I don't think I've interacted with anybody myself. So yeah, I couldn't say I'm sure there's people out there. I'm sure there's jobs out there, right? There's jobs for every language. I just don't know how big of a share of the pie it is compared to like a Java, right? Who knows? That's where I would have to say, apply your Google Foo skills. There you go, Pablo. Yeah, any kind of embedded systems, I would imagine C is kind of pretty heavy in that world. They should give better names to their generics, like T-Builder Factory Controller options. Dude, Pablo's always trolling the C# names every time. Let's see, I'm wondering how do I declare a page size and page number for my Go handler, but allow these to have some default value that the caller can optionally pass, right? Because like I want to support pagination, but I don't want to force the user to always give me the page size and page number. I'd rather that just be implicit, and if they want to change it, they can. Okay, when using the standard net HTTP library, you don't declare default values in the function signature itself. Instead, you parse the query. Here's a common pattern for handling page-based pagination. So you check if the page is provided, and if it's not, okay. Yep, that makes sense. That's dead simple. Dead simple. Parse the query parameters, rec.query, okay. Check if the page, yep, easy enough. All right, I can do this. I can do this. We'll do, let's actually declare at the top of the file our constant. So we'll say, well, actually, let's put it near the method. So get all. Clipper said, I would trust Pablo with my life. Dude, that's so fucking funny. So funny. Okay, default page number is 1. const default page size is going to be, let's just say it's 50. Actually, let's make it 100. And we'll do const max page size. 1,000 seems fine. Const min page size is 1. So we have a default page number of 1, default page size of 100, a min page size of 1, a max page size of 100. So then we can say query params is that. And what does this return? This returns a URL.values. URL.values. And that is, oh, hey, they just aliased a dictionary or a map. I need to do this more in Go. I need to take advantage of this more in Go. I don't do this enough. Oops. Not what I want. So then we'll say page number, and that equals something. I'm actually going to do provided page number, which is going to be something, and then provided page size, which equals something. And we'll go from there. AOC CLI is the one I've been enjoying because, oh, you're working with OpenTUI? Nice. I've been following some of the open code stuff, and the OpenTUI seems really cool. Yeah, the ability to build like really nice graphical user interfaces. And they use React, I think, right? Let's see. Getting started. Oh no, I thought they used React, but I guess not. They do have JSX. Oh, they do. Okay, cool. Yeah, I thought that's what I had seen on Twitter was people posting screenshots of the open code base with JSX in it, which I thought was really cool. And you're using Solid. So how do they... I wonder how they... So where is all this at? The mono repo contains the the core library works completely standalone. And they have, oh, I see. So they have different implementations. I wonder why these aren't maintained. They built it and then no one maintains it. I love that. Hey, just let you know, we have a view, but nobody works on it. If they have any examples, I'd like to see an example of what this looks like. Here we go. See, that's pretty fucking cool. Like that's how you build a TUI. I mean, come on. That's nice. OpenTUI React provides several built-in components that map to OpenTUI core. So this is kind of the same idea of that Blazor, the Razor console package in .NET that we looked at the other day. This is basically the same idea. And then they have different hooks. They have a resize one. They have a keyboard one. That is so cool. So if you're a web developer, you can basically now build really sweet really cool CLI experiences, right? And feel very much like you're at home in your normal web dev world, which is just, I mean, that's awesome. You know what they say? If it can be written in JavaScript, it'll be written in JavaScript. If it can be written in React, it will be written in React. I love that. So do query params dot get, and we'll pass in. Let's actually make these constants too. So we'll const page size param key, and then we'll have page number. That. And this will return what? A string. Does it return an error? Two variables, but only returns one. Okay, so this must just be, so if it's an empty string, then we will set it. So we'll say if provided page number equals an empty string, then we will say provided page number should equal actually, hold on. Actually, let's not do that. Instead, let's do this. Let's do string convert dot parse, or not parse, dot atoi. So we'll do this. And we'll say query params get and then we'll do the same thing here, where we'll say what do we want to say? We want to stir convert dot atoi. And now what we can do is we can say error page number error, or we can do page size error, which basically means we couldn't extract a page number or a page size, right? So what we'll do is we'll say, this is almost like try.parse in C#, doing it this way. It's almost like try to parse it. If we can't parse it, then we're gonna set it ourselves. So we'll say if page number does not equal nil, then we'll set it ourselves and we'll say default page number, and we'll do the same thing here, like that. Although this is complaining. Declared and not used. I guess we're just assigning. So then what we'll do is we'll take these and we'll pass these in here to our getAll method. And from there we should be good. Actually, we need to actually return a page, right? We want to have like a generic page struct that we can use. So let's go back to getAll, and we want like a type page, and we'd like it to be t.any, and it will be a struct, and that struct will have items. That's fine. Page number, page size, total items, total pages. That's a very this is a very standard, like if you're doing page-based pagination, this is a very standard convention for doing it. So get all will return. I don't know what we want get all to return. I don't know if we care. Maybe get all. I think page inevitably is going to be defined somewhere else. Like page probably should exist in our models. Like a common maybe. Page. And do main.go. And then we can do a coffee handler. Go here. Also, if anybody here is a Go expert and you're watching me write this code and you're like, this man has no fucking clue what he's doing, it's because I don't have any clue what I'm doing. I'm making this all up as I go. Package. Promise I can spell page. Package page provides. Pablo, web dev is the best, by the way. You get visual feedback. You can provide great UX to your users. You are close to them. You can build a great product. I could not agree enough, Pablo, on that take. And I will add that the other wonderful benefit of web development is nobody stands between you and the users. Meaning, if you want to build a website and you want to deploy a website and make it available to people, you can do that without anybody's permission, right? Versus like mobile development or even native development, not really the case. Like you probably want to be in the Mac OS store, you probably want to be in the iPhone store, you probably want to be in the Android store, and all those stores require you to go through some sort of approval process, right? Versus like a web app, you can just ship it. But I agree, web dev is the best. Kurt Kennedy, common is anti-pattern in Go. Well, I'm glad I didn't go that route. Kirk, I do have something I read. This is an anti-pattern as well. Creating files like this. I guess you're not supposed to have a utils file. I promise I'll come up with a better name. Arvin, in fairness, I absolutely love developing backends ground up in nothing but base language like you are doing in Go, Steven. I have done in PHP and it was delicious. We'll do it in Java as well. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed. I think it's fun. I think it's good to do it once or twice because you really learn about kind of the fundamental things that are available to you, and it also introduces you to this idea that like all these nice library or frameworks just rest upon these primitives, right? So it's a nice introduction. But I tell you what, it's really nice in C# to be able to, to declare a class, like say in C#, let's say you're going to declare a public class of create coffee request, and you could say, okay, my create coffee request is going to have a public string of name, right? Something like this. And then being able to just handle validation by slapping an attribute on it and say, you know what? This can only be a max length of 100, right? Like, could you implement that attribute yourself? Could you implement the same validation logic yourself and call a function or a method that does it? Sure. But man, having some of those ergonomics, they really make the development experience, I don't know, more enjoyable. You can move faster. Don't have to solve an already solved problem. I don't know. I see the value. I see the value in learning the basics, but then at some point I'm like, okay, you know enough. You can start using some frameworks. You can start using some libraries. Save yourself some time and pain. Not to mention all these frameworks and libraries are like battle tested, right? Somebody's already tripped over the problem you're inevitably going to trip over. Kirk, yes, utils is a no-go. Kirk, I see what you did there. I caught your pun. Pablo, what even do you have there? Oh, in the utils file? So I created these helper methods to help me write and read from JSON. So basically, one method helps me send a response in JSON, and then the next method helps me read JSON from request bodies. And I didn't know where to put them, so I stuck them in a separate file called utils, and then moved on with my life. Mark, now I get you in my feed every day. Well, you're going to if you keep coming back here, Mark. I don't know. That's how these algorithms work. I don't know. I mean, you have a master's of science in math. You probably understand the math better than I do of how these algorithms do what they do, but they're they're getting the signal that you enjoy the content because you keep coming back. Volk, I love cybersec in backend dev, but the domain kick when you get access to a different machine is wild. Yeah. You mean like you got authorized access or unauthorized access? I imagine the dopamine kick between unauthorized versus authorized is a little different. ASMR, what are we building here? Excuse me. We're learning how to write Go, and as part of that process of learning how to write Go, I've been building some small kind of toy projects. Like this is an API for a coffee shop. Because I feel like any backend language you should probably be able to implement an API in, just like you should probably be able to implement a CLI. You should probably be able to implement a background process of some kind, some sort of background worker. Just like those basic things that you should be able to do. I've never built anything with Go, so that's what we're doing. Arvin, framework. I've never heard anybody refer to it that way, but that's how I'm gonna start referring to it as frameworkization of web dev is okay. I'm not going to write like 1,000 lines to develop a controller, but the necessary convenience I need for a job. But I personally like developing backends ground up more. But I feel you. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, personally, yeah. For personal projects, I mean, dude, do whatever lights your brain up. Whatever gives you the most dopamine, do that. Mark, are we discussing generics? I don't know Go, so I don't know if Go has them. Yeah, generics exist in Go. Yeah, actually, we're just getting ready to implement a page struct using the generics. So you can actually give it a generic argument, and then I think you can even do like constraints the same way you would in, if you were doing this in, you could say, page T, and then you could say where, you could say where T is a class, right? Or you could say where T is a pageable or something like that, right? So you can do constraints in C#, but you can also do constraints, I guess, here in Go. Like the only one I've actually seen or used was a comparable. So you can basically limit the type. You can limit the type of thing that can be used with this page struct by putting a constraint here, which is pretty cool. I haven't gone very far down the Go generics rabbit hole though. We kind of skimmed over that section of learn Go with tests because we felt like it was kind of getting a little bit too far into the weeds for what we are ultimately going to use Go for, I mean, generics are really useful when you start getting into writing like really abstracted library like code in a lot of cases. I mean, it can be helpful in small circumstances like this where, I want my page to be able to hold like an arbitrary type of data, but, really complex generics tends to be the realm of like library code that somebody else is going to consume, which is not what I'm going to do with Go. I'm going to solve advent of code problems with Go, and then I might never touch it again. What are the applications of C++ or Go? If you were to start over, would you choose the same path or Go web dev? No, I would. Yeah, I'm really happy with the stuff that I do. Like, I'm very happy with my current job and the work I do there. As far as the development stuff that I do outside of work, like in my personal time, I love .NET. I love C#. I love web dev. I don't think there's anything I'd really do differently on that standpoint. As far as C++, I don't know the applications really of C++. I'd defer to somebody else. I don't write any C++ myself. I'm sure you can basically build anything in C++, if I have to imagine. As far as Go, I've heard Go is used a lot in like any type of situations where you have a lot of need to handle concurrency. I guess Go is a pretty good option for that. But I think people use Go for a lot of things, building websites, building CLI tools. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Volk, I got off permission and unoff, but it was Windows 10 machine of my girlfriend. You hacked your girlfriend? Nice. No, I don't think that's the way to turn her into your wife, but you do you. Anonymous, and constraints are only interfaces that have some nice syntax in them. Well, there you go. So then you basically can say like type pageable interface, right? And then you could set that as a constraint here. So you could say pageable like that. Would that work? Although I wonder why comparable is lowercase. Does anybody know, like if you're a Go person, does anybody know why comparable is a lowercase but pageable? Or why, I guess I could have made mine lowercase, huh? Yeah, I guess you can do that. Anonymous, you can write primitive type and keep writing them in constraints. Oh, interesting. Oh, so you could do like only allow strings. Nice. Yeah, so that's it. That's a generic. That generic type system is very similar to like what we have going on in the C# universe or the TypeScript universe. Arvin, please. Arvin doesn't want people to become bullshitters. Sharon Ram, what are you building? We're building a very simple toy REST API to kind of explore how we would use the built-in HTTP package in Go to build a REST API. So it's like a made up thing, right? It's just a toy project that I came up with to figure out how you do things in Go. Ahmad, I think after the exams I will start studying another language. Go for it, dude. Yeah. Do what you want. It's more of a standard lib thing. Nice. Lowercase means it's private, uppercase is public. Yeah, but then why is comparable lowercase but you can access it everywhere? Is it because it's just is it the same thing as like panic, right? All the globally accessible things are lowercase. There's the delete, right? And then there's also append is lowercase, which is kind of an interesting choice, right? Like you use lowercase for private, public for upper, but then all globally accessible stuff you make lowercase. That you would think it would be uppercase. Ahmed, I wish you success in your project. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, this project probably will get, well, it'll die as a repo on my GitHub. I mean, it's not actually going to do anything. It's just an excuse to learn Go. Good morning, Mike. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Because it's atomic, like in Erlang. Exactly that. What does atomic mean in this context? I've never heard that word in this context. Mike, what autocomplete do you use for NeoVim? So I use a combination, right? So this right here is Copilot. That's Copilot. But then the snippets are Lua snip, like this. These are some of it's coming from the Go LSP, and then it's being surfaced to me in, in the UI using a Lua snip plugin. Which, if you're interested in my NeoVim configurations, I'll post those in the chat. You can actually type !NeoVim, and Stream Elements will hook you up with my exact configuration. Wow, is it really 7:30? It is. All right, chat. Well, I have some family still visiting for the holidays, and we have some more family coming over today. So I think I'm gonna wrap up and go upstairs and hang out with them. It could have to do something with if you want to have your own comparable type. To prevent names. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Anonymous. Yeah, that makes 100% sense. Highest level for non-primitive. So in Elixir, you write :OK, and that means it's a top level variable that can never be shadowed. They don't care about DevX and ergonomics. I love that. Fuck the world, man. Developer experience? Who cares about that shit? Arvin, chill, man. We don't need to be calling people dense. Chill, Arvin, chill. Battle code, bro. Do you use Nuclei tool for bug hunting? No, I don't do any bug hunting. Which I'm assuming what you mean by that is like you're looking for bugs to fix in other people's stuff. I don't really do that. I've never heard of Nuclei though. Nuclei. Post some long videos too, man. Have a good time with your family. Oh, for sure, yeah. If there's any like content you'd like to see from a video standpoint, I have like probably over 500 plus videos on my channel that are long form content. Like the last one I made was about the remap for NeoVim. So I really just usually if I make a long form video, it's something that I am thinking about and want to share and talk about. So if you have other ideas though for long form videos, things you'd like to see, let me know. Be happy to work them into the content calendar. All right, y'all. I'm gonna let's see. Normal wrap up. We have 32 people here. This is pretty awesome for the end of a stream for us. 32 is a lot to still be here. So, best thing to do if you want to reach me or chat outside of the stream is Discord. So I'll put that link one more time in the chat. If you enjoyed hanging out here this morning and you want to come back and chill with us, my schedule is 4:15 a.m. Central Standard Time to 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. So it's a little early for those of you who are in the United States. But if you're not in the United States and if you're in a different time zone, maybe it's a little bit more feasible. I do leave my VODs up. So they're on YouTube. So if you want to hang out and watch my lives after the fact, feel free to do that. They're there. What else? Advent of Code starts on December 1st. So that's Monday. So we have one more day of whatever the hell you call this type of stream. I don't know. It's like random Go stuff. But December 1st, we're going to do Advent of Code, and then we'll probably have some other projects that we do if like a day of Advent of Code goes really well and it doesn't take me the full 2.5 or 3 hours to solve it. then we'll probably have some smorgasbord of projects that I'm working on stream, and maybe we can take a look at some of the stuff that's on that long ass. We have this long, what is it? It's called YT. Yeah, things that we have this really long list of things that we're supposed to check out at some point on stream. Just random technologies, programming languages. This was an animation library for JavaScript. I mean, some of this stuff goes back months now. So maybe we'll work in some of that too. But that's the plan from a content perspective on stream. Is we'll do Advent of Code in December, which is going to be a blast. By the way, if you want to join my private leaderboard, you can join my Discord. My private leaderboard is in our Discord. So if you want to join in with me and the other folks in chat and do Advent of Code with us, feel free. And with that, I think that's everything. So, Chad, I hope your Saturday goes super well, and hopefully I'll see some of you tomorrow morning. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day. If it's already Sunday for you, have a good Sunday. I know time zones are weird like that. Battle code, I can't that question is so big. There's no way I'm going to be able to answer that at the end of a stream. Code, how do I do this in simple words? Code is just instructions to a computer. That's all it is. You're just writing instructions to a computer at various levels of abstraction. And you learn to figure out what it means by writing it a lot. All right, guys. Bye, Arvin. Bye, Battle Code. Bye, Volk. Bye, Pablo. See you, Kirk. Mike, appreciate you. All right, y'all. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, everyone. Bye, chat. Have a good day. Bye. See you guys.